Hey everyone, it's Richard Metalfan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2023 album review. And today we're going to be talking about the new album from the band Burning Witches entitled The Dark Tower, which is out now through Napalm Records. Now, I've never really talked about Burning Witches on this channel. Well, this is actually my first time talking about them. For those of you who aren't familiar with Burning Witches, they're a all-female heavy metal band from Switzerland. They've been around since 2015. And I discovered Burning Witches about 2.5 years ago or something like that. Right after the midst of the pandemic, I was checking out bands. I saw them, I checked them out, dug what I've heard. And they've been putting out albums since their self-titled debut album in 2017, which I thought was a pretty good debut. And then they've put out other albums such as 2019's Hexenhammer, 2020's Dance with the Devil, which around that time they had their original singer Serena left, and then they got Laura Goldman. I probably butchered her name, and I think she was a really excellent addition to the band. And then their last album, which came out in 2021, The Witch of the North, I thought was a pretty good album. And here we are with album number 5, The Dark Tower. Does this album kind of live up or exceed what The Witch of the North has? In my honest opinion, I think it definitely has. I think the girls really stepped up their game. And just like from the album artwork alone, and even most of the songs, it's just a more of a darker kind of sound that Burning Witches have done yet. I think this is probably their darkest album yet. The production on this album is pretty interesting. Like it keeps the modern production sound, but also has that old school kind of heavy metal sound. Like almost feels like I'm listening to a band from the 1980s, but with sort of like almost the today's kind of standards. It's just hard to describe. Let's just talk about the vocals from Laura Goldman. I think her vocals have really improved since joining the band. And, I think she has a lot more of a powerful delivery and a lot of emotion to the songs. Like you could definitely feel the emotions that she kind of evokes to the songs on here and it has a very commanding kind of voice. The guitar work on this album is pretty tight. Romana and Larissa both come up with some really sick riffs. Romana just comes up with some really great riffs, and then the soloing that Larissa does is just really insane. The bass on this album is pretty audible. I think Jay Grob really stepped up her game on the bass on this album. You could definitely hear it well. It pretty much links what the guitars are doing with the melody and what the drums are doing with the rhythm. And the drumming from Lala, well, she definitely really keeps the beat and everything right here. And so without further ado, and I pretty much rambled on for about 3 minutes, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is a little intro called Rise of Darkness, which is sort of like a very calm intro piece with sort of acoustic guitar. Has a very chanting kind of like vocals, like ahs, and there's like a very kind of like a dude like doing like a spoken word part, which pretty much sounds really creepy and dark sounding, and that pretty much sets the whole mood of the album. And then it goes right into the next song, which is Unleash the Beast. And right from the get-go with this song, the band just goes in full force with the ripping guitars and just the Laura just belting out some really sick vocals. And I think it's a pretty good song, just really just up-tempo and just really just in your face. Then we go into Renegade. Now, musically, it's not far ahead of like the long running thing. It's I don't know, a really sick song, and I just really love like the harsher kind of like vocals that Laura does. It really makes it really stand out and just very unique. Evil Witch is up next. Now, this song is very thick sounding. The guitars and the drums really have a very thunderous sound to it. And the chorus here is very melodic and very rich sounding. And I really love like the soloing from that Larissa and also Romana does right here. It's fucking great. Next song on the album is called World on Fire. Now, Burning Witches just definitely shows their really influences with the 80s metal, like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. And it just, I don't know, it just almost with also the like kind of like that youthful kind of like freshness to it, which I think is really good. And then we kind of slow things down a little bit with the song Tomorrow, which is the ballad of the album. And this song is a very great piece and some really great vocals from Larissa. Placing this right in the middle, I think, is a great decision. It's sort of like demonstrating how keen eye for track positioning still matters, especially here in 2023. And the ballad is very relaxing, and it changes up sort of like the flow of the album. And then the mid-break feels like a breather. It just like gives you a chance to relax. And then we go into House of Blood. Now this is a very short sounding interlude. It's very creepy sounding. It sounds like something goes right into like a horror movie or something, but then this song just leads right into the title track, The Dark Tower. Now this song is really good, has a very catchy chorus and some really great twin guitars, and this is one of the strongest tracks that Burning Witches have done yet, and I just think it's, in my opinion, probably one of my favorite songs off the new album. Next up is Heart of Ice. Some really great guitar work on this song, and I just love like the vocals and everything just about this is great. Same thing with Arrow of Time. Another sick song, and this is pretty much where you can hear the bass. I think Jay just shines really great on this song. And then we go into Doomed to Die, and I just love like the vocal patterns and delivery on this song. It just really very memorable, and just the way it delivers that sort of short pause and it just goes doomed to die, doomed to die. I just think it's really catchy and just really creative, I should say. Next up is Into the Unknown. Now this song is a very mid-tempo song, and this song is pretty much about 6.5 minutes long, and in general I feel like this album doesn't contain like any total failures. And then we get to the last song on the album, which is called The Lost Souls, and this is another kind of like banger head song with some nice driving guitars, and I think it's a really great way to end this album. Now overall, The Dark Tower by Burning Witches is a pretty good album, another great addition to their discography. So if I have to give this album a score, I'm going to give The Dark Tower by Burning Witches probably a solid 9 out of 10. Yep, that's my review of the new Burning Witches album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.